we still faithful. I'ma put it all on the table. We forever faithful. Yeah, we still faithful.
If I'm the 49ers, do I do it or do I not? What are the pros and the cons if I'm the 49ers of trading for a Maxx Crosby? Let's start with the pros. And I will get to your guys' comments here shortly, so just bear with me. But let's start with the pros of trading for a Maxx Crosby. He fills an immediate need. The 49ers' biggest need on this team, as evidenced by the play of the defense throughout the 2025 season, is he brings a pass rush. The 49ers had none after about the first quarter of the season. After Nick Bosa went down, after Mykel Williams went down, this team had zero ability to rush the passer, and he fills an immediate need rushing opposite a assumedly healthy Nick Bosa in 2026. You can pair Nick Bosa and Maxx Crosby together, and assuming that Nick Bosa is healthy enough to contribute early on, you're looking at a very lethal edge combo with Maxx Crosby and Nick Bosa. So he fills an immediate need because they need help in the biggest way on the edge of their defensive line. He's good against the run, and like I said, he's an elite pass rusher. So he kills two birds with one stone. He is very solid against the run. Lord knows the 49ers need help with their run defense, and he's an elite pass rusher. I mean, there's not too many of those, and the Niners are in desperate need of as much pass rush help as they could possibly get. So just bringing in Maxx Crosby helps you in multiple ways. And it allows the 49ers, if they were to acquire a Maxx Crosby, to potentially target other positions in free agency and the draft. You knock out that need, just one fell swoop, boom, trade for Maxx Crosby. You can focus on other areas of your team to improve on. So those are the pros of acquiring a Maxx Crosby. But here's where it gets interesting. The cons of trading for a Maxx Crosby. Because believe me, I feel there are several. Jay Glazer said that it would cost more than the Micah Parsons trade, which was 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. So if you're the 49ers, it could potentially cost you 2 first-round picks and a very solid player. Or if you decide to not give up a player in the deal, it could be 3 first-round picks potentially for a Maxx Crosby. Not just that, though. It's not just potentially 2 or 3 first-round picks going back to Las Vegas from the 49ers. If you're the 49ers, more than likely you're going to have to pay what I'm calling the 49ers tax. We know historically Al Davis, Mark Davis have not wanted to do business with the San Francisco 49ers. I am not saying that the Raiders would not trade Maxx Crosby to the Niners, but what I'm saying is if they were to trade Maxx Crosby to the 49ers, the Niners would have to pay a premium just because they're the San Francisco 49ers. That rivalry runs deep in the Al Davis, Mark Davis bloodline. And, we all remember that the 49ers had the biggest offer on the table for Khalil Mack in 2018. But Mark Davis chose to not do business with the Niners and traded Mack to the Bears. So if the 49ers were to, sniff around on a Maxx Crosby, I would be willing to bet that not only would you have to beat everyone else's offer for Crosby, you would have to pay a premium just because you're the San Francisco 49ers. So keep that in mind. The price will be steep, and you're going to have to deal with his massive contract as well. So all that comes into play. That $35 million cap hit in 2026 is not cheap, and it cuts into a huge chunk of whatever available cap space the 49ers will have. And if you're the 49ers, you have several holes to fill on this team. You need another edge rusher or 2. You need another penetrating pass rushing interior lineman or 2. You need potentially an off-ball linebacker. You need a safety. You need a corner. And that's only on defense. So if you trade for Maxx Crosby, not only are you giving up all that draft capital that you could have used to help shore up your roster and some of the holes that you have, but you're also cutting into a large portion of your salary cap, which again could help you shore up tons of holes on your roster. So if I'm the 49ers, do I do that trade? And this is just me, JD. Let me go ahead and act like I'm the acting 49ers general manager right here, right now. It's February 4th, about 7:52 p.m. on Wednesday, February 4th. And I'm going to pretend that I am the 49ers general manager. Do I make the call on Maxx Crosby to the Las Vegas Raiders, knowing everything that goes into it? The cap space, the cap hit, the potential draft capital that it would have to go back, not including a player. Do I make that move knowing that I have so many holes on defense and plenty of needs on offense as well? If we're talking about the offensive line, interior offensive line, maybe a tackle if you're looking at a future Trent Williams replacement, maybe a running back if you want to give Christian McCaffrey a break for the first time ever. You need to add speed in your wide receiver room in the worst way. You need to add a tight end because George Kittle is coming off of a torn Achilles next season. If I'm calling, or if I'm the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers, do I make the move for Maxx Crosby knowing everything that we would have to give up to acquire him? No. Right here, right now, if I were the general manager, I would not do it. I would not make that call. I'm sure that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are going to make the call. It's part of their job. They're doing their due diligence. They would be foolish to not at least call and see what it would cost. But to ultimately pull the trigger on a move like that is an entirely different ballgame. And if I'm calling the shots on this move, I do not make that trade. The 49ers have too many other needs to fill before they even entertain making a trade of that magnitude. And this 49ers team is not one player away. This isn't like 2019 or 2023. They're not one player away. They have too many holes to fill. And if it was me, I would not make the move. If we wake up tomorrow and Adam Schefter breaks the news that, hey, the 49ers and Raiders have agreed to a trade, sending Maxx Crosby to the Bay Area, would I be hyped up? Yeah, I would. I would. I would be ecstatic, as would 99% of other 49ers fans. But just the logical side of my brain that thinks about this and thinks it through, I don't make this trade if I'm the 49ers. Now, on one hand, uh, maybe they should. Maybe they should make the trade. Here's why. Here's why the 49ers might make this deal for Maxx Crosby, despite everything that we just mentioned about what it would take to acquire him. John Lynch is in the final season of his contract. 2026 is a lame duck year for John Lynch. And how many times have we seen the 49ers let players or personnel people enter a lame duck season? That does not happen. So John Lynch is effectively on the hot seat. He is in the final year of his deal, and he knows he has to knock this offseason out of the park when it comes to upgrading this roster and building a contender. So if I'm John Lynch, I feel like, hey, if I make a swing for a guy like Maxx Crosby, I did my job. I tried my best. I did what I could. I reeled in the biggest fish I possibly could, right? And Kyle Shanahan's contract is up after 2027, so he's right behind him. How long does this regime think they're going to get? So maybe they make the call and make the trade for Maxx Crosby because they're starting to feel a little bit of a fire up under their ass. Maybe they're looking that the Seattle Seahawks, their division rival, is playing in a Super Bowl in their stadium this weekend after kicking their ass twice to get there. And the Niners front office is thinking, okay, we got to do something big. We got to do something big to make Jed happy. We got to do something big to make this fan base happy. Our contracts are nearing the end. We need to go all in because how long are we actually going to get if we are John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan? Maybe that's part of the reason they might make that deal. Another part of the reason they could potentially pull the trigger on a Maxx Crosby deal. Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams are both coming off of torn ACLs. Neither of those players, you don't know how either of those players is going to perform in 2026. Now, Mykel Williams is like 21 years old. He's young. He should bounce back. But we don't know for sure, do we? And Nick Bosa, this is the third time he's torn an ACL. And he's not necessarily a youngster anymore. He's in his late 20s. And I know that's not old in a normal sense, but in a football sense, in a pass rusher sense, he's nearing 30. And we all know what nearing 30 means in the NFL. And he's coming off of his third torn ACL. You have no guarantees that your pass rush is going to be any better in 2026, just because of the fact that you have two guys coming off of very severe injuries. So maybe they make the Crosby trade knowing that, hey, we're going for the sure thing. We know Maxx Crosby is an elite pass rusher. He's been that way his entire career. He will come in here and wreck shop. Not only that, he will take pressure off of guys like Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams if we were to bring in a Maxx Crosby, right? And then lastly, maybe they make this move because, let's face it, they have not knocked their first-round picks out of the water. They have not historically been a very strong team with their first-round draft picks. They have made several mistakes in the first round of their drafts. I mean, if we're talking Javon Kinlaw, even Brandon Ayuk, even though, yes, he was a promising player and made some plays for this team and was good when he was on the field, but look where that's got us now, right? I mean, Solomon Thomas, Reuben Foster, Mike McGlinchey's on a different team. Ricky Pearsall, we don't know what we have with him yet. I mean, you had Nick Bosa fall in your lap, but other than that, what has this team done in the first round to give you any true confidence that keeping those first-round picks, as opposed to shipping them off for Maxx Crosby, would be of your benefit? So maybe the 49ers look at themselves in the mirror, have one of those very difficult discussions with themselves, and say, you know what? Let's trade for the sure thing. Because our first-round picks, our track record has not been that great. Maybe that's why the 49ers ultimately make a deal for a Maxx Crosby. But like I said, just my personal belief on this matter is that the 49ers should not do that. The 49ers should not pull the trigger. They have way too many needs on this team. They have only so much cap space, only so many draft picks, and way too many holes to count. And if I'm the general manager for a day and they come to me and they say, "Hey JD, are you gonna pull this trigger on Maxx Crosby?" I'm gonna tell them no. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.